Welcome to the 5-Minute Prime Podcast. Quick, actionable tips to master personal finance and real estate investing. In just 5 minutes a day, we'll help you build wealth and achieve financial freedom. Hey, Prime investors, Martin Maxwell here, and welcome back to the 5-Minute Prime Podcast. In our last episode, we got you past the velvet rope and into the exclusive world of private real estate syndications. But now that you're in the room, how do you know who to trust? When you're looking at a private real estate deal, the glossy photos of the apartment complex are not what matters most. The impressive financial projections are not what matters most. In the world of private equity, only two things truly matter: the skill and integrity of the people running the deal and the fairness of the contract you sign. Get those two things right, and you're on the path to success. Get them wrong, and the consequences can be devastating. Today, we're giving you the investor's playbook for vetting both. A real estate syndication is at its core an asymmetric partnership. There's a clear division of labor, risk, and responsibility. Let's break down the two critical roles. First, you have the general partner, or GP. You can think of them as the operator, or using our movie analogy, the director of the project. Their role is all about sweat equity. They do all the active work. The GP finds the deal, underwrites it, and negotiates the purchase. They secure the bank loan, and crucially, they are the ones who provide the personal guarantee to the lender. Once the deal closes, they manage the entire business plan, overseeing renovations, managing the property managers, and handling all the reporting. And with all that work comes immense risk. The general partner takes on the majority of the liability. Their personal assets are on the line if the deal goes south. This is the fundamental reason their compensation is structured the way it is. They are paid for their expertise and for taking on that personal risk. On the other side, you have the limited partners, or LPs. They are the capital partners or the executive producers of the movie. Their role is intentionally passive and is all about capital equity. Their primary job is to provide the funds needed to acquire the property. Now, this doesn't mean they do nothing. A limited partner has one incredibly important active job: to perform thorough due diligence on the general partner and the deal before ever wiring a single dollar. That is their main point of control in the entire process. In return for their capital, they receive powerful protection. Their financial risk is legally limited to their invested capital. If the deal fails completely, they can lose their investment, but creditors cannot come after their other personal assets like their home or savings. So how does an LP perform that critical due diligence? It starts with the first major test of a sponsor's transparency, decoding the private placement memorandum, or PPM. The PPM is the comprehensive, legally required disclosure document for the deal. Think of it as the encyclopedia of the investment. It's often a dense 100-plus page document, but it contains everything you need to know. Here's where you need to focus. First, the risk factors section. This should be the longest, scariest part of the entire document. You'll see language like, there is no guarantee that the partnership will be able to sell the property at a price that will permit investors to recoup their investment. If this section is short and glossy, that's a huge red flag. A good sponsor will tell you every single thing that could possibly go wrong. Not because the deal is bad, but because they are a professional who respects your capital and their legal obligation to disclose all risks. Second, the sponsor track record. Don't just read their polished bio. You are looking for evidence of full cycle deals. This is critical. Have they actually bought, improved, and successfully sold a similar type of property before? Anyone can buy a property. Only a skilled operator can execute a business plan and deliver a profitable exit. Talk is cheap. A proven track record is everything. Third, the use of proceeds. This is the budget. Where is every dollar going? You should see a clear table showing the purchase price, the renovation budget, all the fees, and the operating reserves. It should be laid out with absolute clarity. And finally, the subscription agreement. This is the actual contract you sign to officially commit your funds to the deal. Reading the PPM is your homework. Signing the subscription agreement is turning in the test. If the PPM is the first test, then the final exam is the operating agreement. If the PPM explains the what of the investment, the operating agreement dictates the how. It governs the internal rules of the partnership and reveals the true alignment between the sponsor and the investors. It's where you can find the potential gotchas. Here are a few critical clauses you must look for. First, voting rights. As a limited partner, you don't vote on day-to-day operational matters, but you should have the right to vote on major decisions. Look for a clause that says something like, the consent of a majority in interest of the limited partners shall be required to sell or otherwise dispose of all or substantially all of the partnership's assets. The absence of these rights is a red flag. Second, capital calls. This is a big one. This clause defines whether the sponsor can require you to contribute more money later. If it exists, the agreement must clearly state the consequences if you can't or won't contribute. The penalties can be severe, from having your ownership stake diluted to being forced out of the deal at a steep discount. You must know this up front. Third, the GP removal clause. Is there a mechanism to fire the sponsor? A good operating agreement will have a for-cause provision allowing the limited partners to vote to remove the GP for things like fraud or gross negligence. This is a critical investor protection that ensures accountability. Fourth, distribution rights. This section details how and when profits are paid out. Look for language defining the preferred return, which ensures you, the investor, get paid first. A strong investor-friendly clause will state that the preferred return is cumulative and compounding, meaning any shortfall in 1 year carries over to the next. Fifth, fees. The agreement will legally define all the fees the sponsor can charge, such as the asset management fee. You want to see clear definitions, for example, an annual asset management fee equal to 2% of the gross revenues of the property. Scrutinize this to ensure there are no hidden or vaguely worded fees. And finally, transferability. How easy is it to sell your stake? Most agreements will have a clause like, a limited partner may not transfer their interest without the prior written consent of the general partner, which may be withheld in its sole discretion. This confirms the illiquid nature of the investment. Understand these restrictions before you invest. Now, a quick but very important disclaimer. I am not an attorney or a financial advisor. This podcast is for educational purposes only. Before you ever invest in a private syndication, you must have your own independent attorney review all legal documents, and you should consult with your financial advisor and accountant to ensure the deal is right for your specific situation. Let's bring it all home. A private real estate syndication is a partnership where trust is built, not on handshakes, but on the strength and fairness of the legal agreements. A great sponsor, a great director will provide transparent, investor-friendly documents that welcome scrutiny. They understand that a well-informed investor is the best partner. Now, your challenge today, let's get you comfortable with the paperwork. Go to the website of a syndication sponsor you found from our last episode. Look for their investor portal or education section. Find an example of an investment summary, a past deal webinar, or a sample report. Your goal is not to analyze the deal, but to simply familiarize yourself with the language and the types of documents they present to potential investors. Start getting comfortable with the process. Now that we understand the players and the rules, our next episode will follow the money. We'll deconstruct the fee structures and the profit-sharing waterfall to show you how and when you actually get paid. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Martin Maxwell. Keep learning, stay strategic, and keep building one smart move at a time.